Okay. So you not believe what just happened like 4 hours ago. And unfortunately for me, I'm still on, I'm actually on lunch right now, so my day's only half over. But dude, this lady came in, she was already in the store, or she was already in the store when I clocked in this morning at 11 o'clock. She comes in and she bought a $100 iTunes card. And this was supposed to be, I guess, for her son that lived in another state. All this bullshit. So, she bought it. And then right after she bought it, she decides to send him a text message with the code that she had to scratch off. I'm not really keen on how iTunes works anyway, so, you know. Don't know. So she scratched off the code, and she sends him the code that she scratched off, and then he asked for a picture of the iTunes card, of the back of it, and she sent him a picture, but what ended up happening was she sent the picture to the wrong person somehow, and I don't know how, or why, or I don't know what happened to make her send it to the wrong person, but she ended up sending it to the wrong person. So, I guess they ended up spending it or some shit. I don't know. But what ended up happening was our store does not refund your money for like iTunes cards and shit. That's all from like iTunes. So, she had to call iTunes. Well, she doesn't know the number for iTunes, and on the back of the card itself doesn't have a phone number, or at least the one I looked at didn't. So one of my coworkers actually Googled the number for iTunes. She found a number on Google. She gave it to her. Is on the phone with this iTunes representative for a long time. And she gets very upset at one point because the iTunes rep said that he had blocked access to the iTunes card, her first iTunes card. So that way no one would spend it, but then that didn't make any sense. So the guy was like, well, in order for me to give you the refund, you're gonna have to go buy another iTunes card, activate it, and give me the code that you scratch off. So she did that. And at this point, I was going in and out of the department anyway, so I wasn't paying too much attention to what was going on. But the lady was kind of confused. She's like, I don't understand why. And I'm saying, like, why are you buying another one to get a refund on your first one? That does not make any sense to me. What? Why are you doing this? So the representative tells her that iTunes card, after she scratched off, paid for it, she's now down $200. Pays for it. And then fucking somehow that card has a defect and doesn't work. So the representative told her to buy 2 more $100 iTunes cards. Yes, it gets this crazy. So that way he can refund her the full $400. Somehow that made sense to this lady. She's in our department. I'm kind of watching this happen. I'm like, ma'am, this doesn't make any sense. Why are they having you buy this many? I mean, I don't know how iTunes works. I don't know how the refunds work. Maybe that's how they do it. I don't fucking know. But I figured, she's on the phone with iTunes. They probably know what they're talking about over me. So she goes, she buys 2 more $100 cards for iTunes. She is now down $400. Still on the phone with this guy. Scratches off the codes and then says, those cards are also defective too. And this woman's very upset because she's told in order to get a refund, she has to reactivate all these cards so that way there's a card for him to refund from. So I'm confused, and I'm like, I don't know why he keeps having you buy more. So eventually, she puts me on the phone with this guy after he had already talked to another one of my coworkers. And so this guy gets on the phone with me now, and he tells me, go get all of your iTunes cards that you have, because I think they're all defective. I don't think they're all working. And I said, okay. And then he tells me, go ahead and activate 2 of them so that way she can get her money back. She can at least $200 back. And I said, I'm sorry, what? And he goes, well, I need to find out if all these cards are defective. So you need to try to activate 2 more, give me the code, and see if they activate. And I said, dude, that would make my drawer down by $200. You want me to explain that to my boss? And I told him, I was like, I'm gonna get my manager just to make sure. I'm not going to even, I'm not doing it, okay, without some sort of manager being there. I'm not gonna be the one who makes the drawer $200 short because some guy over the phone told me to, because he says it's okay. He basically tried to convince me that it was okay because he had all the information for our store and that it wouldn't be short because the money would magically appear somehow back in my drawer. And I said, sir, that doesn't make any sense to me. I'm going to get my manager just to clarify. And while I'm waiting for the manager to come in, this guy's telling me, oh, no, it's okay. I know this. I have all the information for your store. It's fine. Everything will be fine. Your drawer will not be short $200, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I said, I understand you work for iTunes or whatever. I said, but I just want to clarify that this is going to be kosher with management, with the store, with everything, so that way I don't get written up, so that way I don't get fired. And he goes, okay, I understand, blah. And this woman's already down $400, and she's like crying and upset. I don't know how to comfort upset people, really. I really don't, okay? I'm trying to like be nice and shit, and I'm like, everything's okay, but I don't know how to comfort people. I'm a little weird. So I'm kind of there next to her trying to like make, I'm telling her everything's gonna be okay, everything will turn out fine. So I get my manager over there. He gets on the phone with this guy, and he's on the phone for like no longer than, 5 minutes with this dude. And he's like, sir, I need you to give me the number you're calling from. Can I speak to your supervisor then? And then the guy tried to sort of brush it off as if his supervisor wasn't there or something or another, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Eventually, we hang up with the guy on the phone. My manager's like, I'm pretty sure that was a scam. I'm pretty sure he scammed her out of $400, but just to make sure, get on the phone with iTunes. So I went onto the Apple website, I called Apple, and I ended up getting on the phone with the senior supervisor, senior advisor. I explained the entire situation. And I told him, hey, I want to know 2 things. Is this woman going to be able to get her money back? And are all my cards in this store defective? So I read off the case number to the guy. The case number was invalid. There was nothing in their iTunes system about this woman ever calling them for anything, which is a red flag already. And then I read of each iTunes card, not the part you scratch off, and they had all been activated and spent. So the original card, which was kind of her fault for sending it to the wrong person, and then the 3 other $100 iTunes cards were activated and spent. So this guy scammed her, actually and spent. She could not get her money back from iTunes. So this woman's like fucking sobbing, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, man. Like, really, it's fucked up, dude, what just happened. Because this guy literally just took advantage of this woman's entire situation, made it 4 times worse, and played it off as if he was some guy from iTunes. So this woman's fucking just, she is so fucking upset, and I completely understand. And I kept telling her, and she's like, oh, what did I do? What did I do? And I'm like, ma'am, scams happen all the time. You'll be surprised how many people actually fall for them. She goes, step after that, the guy on the phone basically told me it is best at this point to file a police report for the scam, maybe track down the scammers themselves, and maybe get her money back somehow that way. So I got my manager. There really wasn't much else we could do for her at that point. And eventually she left. I was with her for like an hour, and I was on the phone with iTunes too, and it was just like, all that happened, and now I'm so fucking mentally drained, you have no idea. But my day's only half over. I'm okay. I bought some fucking Werther's. I got a Gatorade. Maybe I'll take a nap. Fuck, it's 3:40. Maybe not. Wow, that was a quick 30 minutes. Anyway, so there's that. Don't give your information to strangers, kids. And if you ever want to call iTunes, don't just grab some random number from Google. Go to Apple website and just go from there. Automated systems, they're a pain in the ass, but I mean, at least it's not some random stranger getting your info and then spending your money and then you'll never see it again. Just a thought. Have a good day, kids! Thankfully, this lady did not take out the mistake that my coworker made by giving her the wrong number off of Google, and she didn't blame my coworker for the mistake because it was a legit number that my coworker found off of Google. And when she tried to search it again after the lady had called and the scam was sort of uncovered, the phone number was no longer on Google anymore. So that's strange, but the lady understood that it was a mistake, and at least she didn't really blame us or my coworker for making that mistake. If you ever want to try to find a phone number for a company like iTunes or anything, go on their website, okay? Even if you have to Google their website. I had a lady come in today printing pictures, and she showed me some of her pictures because for some reason customers like to tell you their life story sometimes, and not much like myself, I guess. And she points to like these two people in this picture, and they're like, oh, this is my brother and my sister-in-law. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And she's like, they both died of cancer. And I was like, not cool. So I took a shower, I ate. Now I'm gonna go to bed because I'm fucking exhausted. Honestly, today was just kind of rough. I mean, like, the scam thing, that kind of made me mentally exhausted just because the situation itself was stressful. It is a stressful situation regardless of who you are, really. If you're just like the bystander or if you're like the victim or whatever, it is a really stressful situation, really, and it kind of mentally drained me after that. And then after a while it was fine, and then by the end of today, with all the other crap I had to do at work, I had a bunch of stuff that required me because of my job and my responsibilities with my job. See, I'm so discombobulated right now. I don't know if I should even be like talking or anything or operating heavy machinery. But yeah, I'm now physically and mentally exhausted. So I'm probably gonna upload this shit tomorrow. I'm gonna sleep now because sleeping is my favorite thing to do. And I'm tired. Good night.